Hi, this is Mrs. A, and I'm back with the Straight A Nation Parent of the Month segment, March 2015. I am here with Jane Wolz today. Hello, Jane.
Hey.
And I wanted to ask you first, how long have you lived in Bedford?
We've been here 15 years.
And what is your husband's name?
His name is Kurt.
And what does he do for a
He's
living?
a pilot for American Airlines.
Nice. So that must be an interesting life for you.
It's an interesting life.
I'm assuming that you're at home alone without him quite a bit of the time.
About half the week, 3-4 days a week.
And so what has that been like?
It hasn't been bad. I think it's been what we were used to. The children grow up that way. Sometimes things are a little bit more relaxed when Dad's gone. But it's always nice when he comes back and he gets a break. And
Okay, so can you tell us how many children do you have?
we have 4.
And their ages and names?
We have Julie is 18, Kyle is 16, and Brooke is 14. And then our oldest daughter, Angie, is graduated Bentley University, and she lives in Washington, D.C. now.
Nice. So have you pretty much always been a full-time mom?
Most of the time. When Angie was little, I worked then. And then as we were waiting for Julie to be born, I decided I didn't really need to go to work. I just wanted to stay home with her.
Okay, so what have been the ups and downs of being a full-time mom?
I think the main of it, Dan, I imagine every mother goes through this. It's just, you never get a break.
Tell me about it.
Sometimes I think I could be a lot more useful in a career, just have more conversation with adults or whatever. But as the children have gotten older, it's been much better, much easier.
And so I know that for a time you homeschooled. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For
Why
2
you did
years.
it? Okay, for 2 years. And what made you do that?
Well, one thing we noticed with my husband's vacation times and everything, he just wasn't getting summer vacations or vacations that matched, like the spring break and so forth. So we were missing a lot of, we love to travel, and we were missing a lot of opportunities for the children. Plus, they were just at the right age for educational travel. So I am a former teacher. I taught school for 15 years. And I thought, I'll just keep them all home. And we'll homeschool and we'll travel with Dad. And that's what we did. We went to a lot of national parks and toured a lot of major cities. We went to Europe twice. So that's what we did. We took advantage of his free travel with American.
That's fantastic.
Taught them things that they needed to know.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next is all of your extensive traveling, how do you think that has played into your children having a broader view of the world and being even better educated?
Well, the way I was raised was that travel is education. And I was raised in the military. And I just kind of felt that they need to see places. They need to know that everything doesn't, they've virtually spent their whole lives in New Hampshire, and everything doesn't look the same here, and people are different and have different customs. And of course, famous things that you see in geography books and things, it was just very nice for them to see them face to face. We studied French all year so we could go to Paris.
Wow.
So that kind of thing I think was beneficial.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So your homeschool years are finished, and the kids are now all in Bedford schools.
Right.
And so how now are you continuing to be very involved in their education even though they're gone all day?
Well, they're all at Bedford High School now, so I think with me, that high school portal has been really nice to follow, make sure they're on top of things. We do have a dedicated homework time where I'm expecting them to be working on something for school or at least reading, studying for something else. And that's hard to manage sometimes. They have so many activities after school and having them coming and going. But I think the main thing is we just keep promoting how important it is to get that education. College isn't that far away, and they want to make a good living, I hope. They want to support their own families someday.
Right. And so in the kids' earlier years, you volunteered in the schools. And in what way did you do that?
Well, when they were younger, I volunteered a lot in elementary schools, and because I was a teacher, I did the hands-on with student things, It's a Gas series at Riddlebrook, and some of the different math programs and things where you worked with the children directly. But I have a congenital hearing loss, and as my hearing deteriorated, it was more difficult for me to be in the classroom with the kids.
Right.
Frustrating to children who don't know me. So now that they're in the high school, I'm kind of the mom that does teachers' luncheons and, you know, makes food for those things and things like that. I've worked a couple book sales, things like that, field trips.
Okay, and you have to tell us, what did you teach for 15 years?
I was an elementary teacher, and I taught almost every grade at first, but my last 9 years I spent in first and second grade.
That's an awesome age.
It is a good age.
That's what my daughter wants to do,
Yeah, really?
actually, yes.
Yeah.
So you have to talk to me a little bit about your extensive volunteerism, starting with BYPC.
Oh, BYPC. Well, my children, just almost from the time we moved here, I started my 18-year-old at BYPC. She was 3. And
Wow.
so they just kind of grew up there. And word got out somehow that I sewed.
And she sews very well, by the way.
So, you know, here and there I made a few costumes for them. And when the children were little, I made costumes they needed for their different plays and so forth. And then 4 or 5 years ago, my 2 girls had gotten very busy over there with doing both ages, the high school age and the middle school age. And Ann Davison, the director of BYPC, said, would you come and work with us and do the costumes for our big shows? So I've been doing that now for the last few years. And it's not just about the sewing, even though that's probably the biggest part, but I've just watched these kids grow up.
Right.
And so I have that nice interaction with now they're all high schoolers, and I've
Right.
had that nice interaction with them.
And with some of my kids even, right?
Yeah, it is. So it's been very gratifying to me because I love the kids and I want to see them succeed there. So,
Well, I know for a fact that Jane's had a very powerful impact on the kids over at BYPC. I've seen her measuring them and then taking great care and making sure that their costumes fit well and are comfortable, and the kids love you, probably more than you
I
know.
want them to look good so their moms can take great pictures.
There you go. Well, you're very valued, very valued, very
Thank you.
talented. So can you talk to us about your volunteering at church?
Well, especially as the children have gotten into their teenage years, I've felt really strongly that teenagers just need adults in their lives. They need support, and they're not always. I'm sure they can find the support at home, but it's not always the mom that they want support from.
That's true.
So for the last many years, probably 5 or 6 years, I've been volunteering with fundraising. The teenagers, I attend Bethany Covenant Church, and the Covenant teens have a conference every 3 years called CHIC, which is Covenant High in Christ. And it's a massive fundraiser. They go for a week to Tennessee. So we basically fundraise for about 2.5 years between the 3-year conference. So I've served on the fundraising committee, organized and run several fundraisers. First for Julie's group, who went in 2012, and then Kyle and Brooke will be going this year, 2015.
Nice.
So it's just been a way to help them reach their goals, keep them on track, but also to really get to know the kids better and just be a person they see all the time and they know they can talk to.
So it sounds like it's important to Jane to be a role model for kids in the community, which I think is really important, especially in this day and age. I feel like kids really need to witness adults who have fine character like yours and to be able to follow their example. So talk to me also about the Food for Children program in Manchester that you help out with.
Well, we, again, our youth group at Bethany has visited Teen for Children, Food for Children, and helped to pass out food and carry foods and so forth at that great program run by my friend Pete Dalrymple. And because my kids had worked in that, they did their confirmation projects regarding Food for Children. So Kyle started that first, and he just worked many consecutive Saturdays on it. I went with him, but I mean for him to earn that project. And then Brooke wanted to take it a little farther, and she made gift bags, like ditty bags. We hand sewed 100 bags and collected toys and toothbrushes and things like that, books, crafts, and filled those and handed them out at Christmas.
That's really nice.
It was so special to her that this year we did it again, just on a smaller scale. And it was just so nice to we spend the Saturday before Christmas there, hand out little bags to the children who come with their parents.
That's so nice.
And it's just been a really nice thing that we have for us.
Well, for you parents watching, especially parents of young children who are just kind of embarking on this whole parenthood thing, Obviously, it is really important for our children to see us involved in our community and helping other people. And clearly, Jane has been a great example to her kids who now also want to volunteer and give of themselves. So can't say enough about that. Well, I happen to know Jane Wolz's children, and they are exemplary. They are very well educated, focused on academics, focused on their future. They love the entertainment industry, singing, dancing, acting. They're full of life. They're very balanced children, very kind. And so I want to ask Jane, how have you and Kurt helped your children to remain focused on their academics and have such fine character and have a vision for their future? Because everyone's afraid of the teen years. So
they've been easier than I thought they were going to be. In a lot of ways, the places where they mess up really aren't that serious. I think, first of all, I raised them in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they always had an understanding that we are not here, our purpose in life is not about us.
Right.
And so that was important to me. When the girls were little, we had this saying, it's nice to be pretty, but it's really pretty to be nice. And they're just nice kids. They're happy kids. In a lot of ways, it's just a blessing because I don't think that I've done everything that I could have done. They just seem to have a good sense of these are the people we are. I think you role model that, your character, serving,
Right.
The way you treat other people, the way you speak with strangers or reach out when somebody is sick and needs a meal, whatever. So I think that's been a part of it. We've been lucky that they've chosen good friends so far.
Good friends are so important.
That is so important. And I mean, certainly we've talked to them. In my husband's career, for example, even any kind of arrest, any kind of drunk driving, even back in college, he would not have been able to get his career with American. They look way back. You just have to be a moral character from the time you're like 15. So we've had a lot of talks about that. But I think the main thing is you just keep the lines of communication open. If they're confused about something or upset about something they've seen, we talk about it with them without judgment. And I have, at least so far, been confident they're going to go out and make the right decision. I'll call you, though, if
Okay.
I may be checking back with you.
Send them over to me. I'll
so
talk to
far,
them.
so
No,
good.
they're great kids, Jane. So I do have to ask the question of the day. With how much time you invest in your family, your home, your husband, supporting your kids in their education, and all of the volunteering you do, when do you find time for yourself?
I make time for myself, and I have to say that the school days are my time. I'm a very early riser, so by the time they get home from school and do all their activities, I'm not going out looking for something to do in the evening on my own. But it's very important to me to, a lot of what I want to do is I just want to lay on the couch for a couple of hours and read sometimes. But to have coffee with friends and to make some daytime times that I can get together and get out with people that I know. Time for myself, though, is just sometimes just catching up and organizing things that
I know.
that you never get to.
The work is never
regularly.
done.
And just, I actually like being alone. That's what I've learned from being a stay-at-home mom. So if you don't make a time on this Wednesday, I'm going to do this, this, and this.
It's so true.
It doesn't always happen.
It's so true.
You know.
Yeah. So Jane, we know that there are no perfect parents. There are no perfect mothers.
No.
There's no perfect community, and there are no perfect schools. But clearly, you and your husband have done something really right. And this is a great community that our kids are blessed to be a part of, as we know. And they get a lot of support here. But thank you for being such a great role model to your own kids, to my kids, and to so many other kids here in Bedford. And it's been a pleasure having you here today. You deserve to be the Parent of the Month for this month. And thank you so much for joining us. And if you would like to nominate next month's Parent of the Month, you can go to www.straightanation.org and do it there. And until next time, this is Mrs. A. I'll see you then.